This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons.
All right, people.
Is that part of it?
Time to get serious. Damn it.
Radio show that talks about economic
Make
development.
magic.
Make
Work,
magic.
work with us, Roger.
Work with
And all
me.
of those
Great
things that
cheese
make Omaha a
warehouse.
great place to live or visit.
Frank Great Cheese
Grow
Warehouse down by
Omaha
the
on
airport.
News Radio
That came up
1110
again.
Well, good morning and welcome to the aforementioned Grow Omaha show. Jeff Beals here at your service from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company, Omaha's premier commercial real estate firm. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing, residential and commercial roofing contractors to the stars and pretty much everyone else. Without any further ado, we're going to bring on my co-host, a man who is legendary in this Omaha real estate market for all of the things he has done to make it better, and that is Trenton Megged.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jeff.
Well, good morning, Trenton. And this is an exciting show because we're going to bring on two of our favorite guys that we work with all the time. Sitting next to Trenton is Brad Williams of Brad Williams Photography and E&A Consulting. Good morning, Brad.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, always good to have you back on the show. And then another familiar name and voice sitting next to Brad is Jorge Sotolongo from NAI NP Dodge.
Good morning. Sharing a mic with Brad. He's piggyback riding me right now.
I tell you, it's quite the visual, and it's a darn shame that people can't see it, but radio's theater of the mind, and they might enjoy the imagination more than even the reality.
And it'll drive them to our YouTube channel.
That's true. Hey, so Brad, tomorrow you have a really cool event coming up at Countryside Village.
Yeah, I'm going to have a pop-up art sale called Beer with Brad. It's at the Casual Pint, and come in, grab a beer, and shop for the holidays.
What's the time on that?
It's 1 to 6 tomorrow, Sunday.
I'm going to come toward the beginning of it, which means I probably can only drink one beer because otherwise I might be a little bit sleepy for the rest of the day. But I'm going to be there toward the beginning of it. That'll be fun. Casual Pint and Countryside.
Yeah, Casual Pint's a cool place, great owners, Dave and Becca. They've been really good to allow me to have this. I do art fairs in the summer, but I always wanted to have something closer to the holidays. So this is just going to be a fun event.
Ladies and gentlemen, perfect gifts, all prices. And if you go to bradwilliamsphotography.com, there's some amazing shots on there. And you have different sizes and ready to go.
Yeah.
Prints framed.
I'll have prints that are, you can pick your own frame, or I'll have stuff that's ready to hang on the wall. Everything from a traditional paper print all the way to some large metal pieces, which are, I compare the large metal pieces to like an HD TV look.
And they make great client gifts. I've bought some of your work and given them to clients, and it's around the country now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Around
It'll be a
the
fun event tomorrow, and hopefully we'll see you there. Jorge, you are on the City of Omaha Planning Board. Second half of the show today, basically we're going to go through some of the things that were on the planning board, but you guys had a pretty busy agenda, didn't you?
Yeah, it was for only about 20 cases. It was some heavy hitters. So I'm excited to go through them. Okay,
there's going to be a lot of projects we're going to be talking about. But first, let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. They know mortgages, FHA, VA, conventional loans. They'll help you with all of that. And make sure that if you are going to go into the rat race of looking for a new house, you want to be armed with that pre-approval letter from Eagle Mortgage. And they'll sit down with you, talk to you, give you the best advice they possibly can, and you'll just be in good shape as you go out there and look for a new house. Refis too, they handle all that. You can find them in person at 114th and Davenport or online at EagleMortgageCompany.com. All right, so we always like to talk a little bit about some national real estate news that CoStar is kind enough to give us. CoStar is a data distribution company that provides information about the real estate market. So this week, they tell us about Walmart. And Walmart has been using pop-up container yards to improve the flow of products to fill store shelves around the country and the world. An empty lot, we're mostly talking about the United States now though, an empty lot near the LA and Long Beach ports has been processing 500 containers a day. Walmart's doing the same thing at their at the big Savannah, Georgia port. At the Southern California ports, which had the biggest bottlenecks earlier, remember we were talking about that so much a few weeks ago, Walmart has seen a 51% improvement in containers flowing through them. The retailer does have more inventory on hand now than it did in last year's holiday season.
Quite braggarts, huh? You'll see in their parking lot sometimes they'll have containers there that, especially this time of year, so much inventory is moving through there that they need the extra space.
That's the guess what's in the container and you can have it sale.
Yeah, there you go. But they have, out on Highway 50 and stuff, they have big warehouses full of stuff as well. So they've got off-site supplies in Omaha. And not that we need to give Walmart a shout-out.
They're doing fine without us. But everyone keeps talking about all of the Amazon warehouses that have either opened or are under construction in Omaha, before of them, all big, one in particular huge. But a lot of people don't realize that industrial is crazy. I was talking with a couple of our industrial brokers at NAI and Dodge yesterday, and they were saying, you guys would not believe the companies that are coming into town, big companies that are leasing space and how fast it's going. It's really quite exciting, actually.
Brian Hartman and I are working with one in particular, over 100,000 square foot national tenant that's looking in Omaha, and it's not like there's a lot of spaces to be had. So you either have to plan a year in advance at least, or get lucky.
Well, guys, let's talk about a cool project, because one of the most popular things we possibly can bring up on the Grow Omaha show would be tall buildings. And just this week, City Ventures, which is the owner of the iconic Central Park Plaza Twin Towers. These are the two red brick buildings that you always see when you see that classic photograph of Omaha of the Gene Leahy Mall.
Toast and Marco signs are on there.
Yeah, Toast and Markle up there. These buildings are now 39 years old, which is crazy to think that they're that old. But plans now call for a 17-story building to be inserted into the middle of the Twin Towers. Okay, they're gonna pop a thing now. It'll be attached so that the buildings and the new building will all have one floor plate. So there'll be big floor plates, but from the outside, it'll look like a 17-story building has been wedged boom,
a couple
right
stories
into
higher than what's existing, I believe.
Yeah, how cool is that going to be?
I want to see how the windows in the current buildings, what they're looking at when they put these buildings together.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is a $105 million project. It only adds like 80,000 square feet, it sounds like.
It's an 80,000 square foot tower that they're wedging into the building.
And Jorge, on the planning board, they just received approval for $18 million in tax increment financing, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So the numbers are kind of staggering on this project. So right now, the building's only really taxed on about $14 million of perceived value. And they're thinking of a final valuation of $80 million once this project is done.
Wow.
It's a staggering amount of money.
Yeah. For an addition.
For an addition, basically.
A little more than that, but they're redoing a lot of the existing buildings as well.
They're reskinning the whole thing, too. So it's really going to look different. It's going to be a massive building. It's going to really change our skyline. And I think fix a lot of the issues in that building that they're seeing. Obviously, you've got two interesting sides to that building, and now you're going to create a really kind of contiguous space for each tenant.
And this adds another $100 million basically to the $400 million park development. This is at the head of that area.
Exactly.
And then conceivably what we're talking about is the W.Dale Clark Library is going to come down, and a yet to be named developer. That could be another 15-story project, right?
Well, we talked last summer, Trenton. You and I confidentially talked to someone who might be involved in building a building on that site that said maybe it could be closer to 20. The building that they have planned, potentially, possibly, maybe for the W.Dale Clark site. So a couple interesting thoughts. One. Going back to the Central Park Plaza Twin Towers insert, that'll be another tower crane that all of us construction geeks will
Probably
enjoy.
More than one.
And number two, if the building that we think might be coming onto the W. Dale Clark site happens, will you even see it? Will you even see it once that building's done?
Exactly. I mean, we're going to have it just in like a one block radius from there. You're going to have like 3 massive projects potentially, and there's going to be cranes everywhere. And then they're going to retain a lot of that retail as well. They're going to do a lot of ground floor retail as well in the Central Park Plaza project. So it's going to be great and walkable, and it's going to change our skyline totally.
And then moving east, there could be another about a 6-story building, we believe, where all the construction equipment is now.
You're talking
On
about
the west side of the park, right?
Right. Trenton's talking about the square block that had always been the westernmost point of the Jean Leahy Mall. And like Trenton said, that's being used for construction staging now. But everything we're hearing is that will no longer be part of the park. It will be some building. My guess would probably be mixed use with a heavy multifamily component.
Yeah,
on that one.
multifamily, probably some office as well.
Or retail on the ground
Have a nice
floor.
like stepped up, I think, view from the park.
Yeah.
Looking at the buildings, it's going to step up nicely, I think.
You guys, there have been, and we haven't really addressed this on the show because there's so much that we don't know, but there are some fanciful rumors going around about possible tall buildings going downtown. And you know, it's so funny. I love to go and I talk to people. I talked to some people yesterday in the industry, and a lot of people said, "Yep, a lot of exciting stuff coming downtown. A lot of big stuff. So. We don't know exactly what all it involves, but there's a lot of talk about some buildings down there that could be fairly tall.
Well, the former UP site is prime for redevelopment. We've seen some renderings over the years that that could be next in line as well.
Yeah, and the question is who would be a tenant for it if it does truly happen. There were even rumors floating around that maybe a general contractor was selected for the former UP site. Again, nothing has been announced, But Brad, with all of the stuff going down there, we know something's going to be happening.
Yeah, the interesting thing with all the rumors, too, is it's all companies that are already here relocating. And so that would even open up more development property around town, too.
And secondary space, they might have a campus already, or they might have a big building that could be repurposed. And here's this new Apex, which is Central Park Plaza. They call it renaming it the
new
Apex.
name. Yeah.
That's 39 years old, and so they're not afraid to take these buildings, and you're seeing that around town, and which is a lot better than Could you imagine? There's no reason to scrap a building of that quality, obviously.
So, question for you guys: do you consider that building Class B or Class A, Central Park Plaza?
Right now?
Yes.
It's Class B, I would
B.
say.
Okay,
B,
Class B.
yeah.
Because they referred to it as Class B as well, and I was just curious what everybody thought, if that was accurate. I mean, I guess it's true.
Now, the last time I was in one of the upper floor offices in that building were several years ago, and even back then, my memory of it is kind of, and I apologize if this is not accurate, but my memory is a little bit low ceiling, not all that brightly lit. And now
I don't recall that.
I might be wrong on that, but
I know it's been redone quite a bit already. I mean, City Ventures has gone from 25 employees to like over 200.
They're
and they're in
blowing
that
up.
building.
Yeah,
so I mean, there's
blowing
a lot of people. By the way, this is just the building. The parking garage to the west. There's also plans for that. I know they're working closely with the
Park
city
Fair.
of Omaha. Yeah, so they're working with the city of Omaha to decide, what's going to happen, what kind of updates are going to be there. But they're going to retain the parking, obviously, and it's going to be a good amenity.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of rents. If they're going for a Class A rent, you have some pretty hefty rates.
yeah, it would have to.
But if they were Class A, wouldn't they need a more of an attached parking garage for all this square footage in the building?
For the true definition?
Yeah, true definition of Class A, ladies and gentlemen, is garage parking for a lot of it. Multi-story, which that certainly qualifies. Some of the amenities.
Restaurants, food service, fitness, workout area, nicer meeting and event spaces.
So that
But
also
you got all that around there.
that also answers the question, or asks the question of if they need more parking, where does that go around there? I mean, that could be part of a whole nother development.
Indeed, yeah.
But if you're Pickleman's or some of those restaurants around there and some of those services, you just got to be licking your chops.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of deliveries.
A lot of deliveries. Oh, and by the way, there is
2,000
talk.
employees they're talking about.
There is talk that there could be a bar restaurant on the top floor of that new building insert, which would be pretty nice.
I think we should make a rule that if you're going to get TIF, you have to put a bar on top of your building.
I am 100% in favor of that.
And affordable housing too, but I'm just saying the bar on top of the building would be good.
Yeah, there's all that other stuff, but mostly the bar, Jorge, that's what I'm kind of intrigued by. That, yeah, if you're going to have a building that is more than, say, 6 stories and you get TIF, must have either top floor, bar, lounge, restaurant, or rooftop bar.
Or pickleball.
Or pickleball. Just put pickleball everywhere at this point.
Yeah, darn right. Well, we're going to break it right now, but when we come back, we're going to bring on Bruce O'Neill. He's the head of the Elkhorn Athletic Association, and we're going to ask Bruce about this massive youth sports complex that Elkhorn Athletic Association is developing near Valley and Waterloo. So real exciting project. And then after that, Brad and Jorge and Trent and I will get more into what went down in the planning board this week and some of the projects that are on the tap. So a great show as always. A lot to talk about. You're listening to Jeff Beals, Trenton Magid, Brad Williams, Jorge Sotolongo, all on News Radio 1110 KFAB. We'll be back in a moment.
So he's 96 years old. How big is that?
I know. 150,000
Bruce, come on in, sir.
What is he doing with it, or what's he need it for?
150,000
Spec?
for sports.
Just spec. There's going to be 6
How much tips
spaces.
is he
Sounds
getting?
like about 25K each square feet. I
on
think
in,
Denny
sir.
Cisco's.
150,000.
I think Denny Cisco's leasing them out.
If you can just have you sit,
You got tips?
grab Jorge's chair right there. And,
This one or?
yeah, that black one right there is fine. And then when you talk into the mic, you want to be real nice and close.
Gotcha. They got 3.8 million.
So all this, I'm just going to throw you the basic questions about it. You can tell us about it.
Well, you've got experiences in the youth sports market, so it'll
Yeah.
be good. We can just kind of just talk about some of your experiences and what you've observed. And
It's funny because Brad and I were having breakfast this morning, and he's got a 4.5-year-old who's going to go play hockey for the first time.
Yeah.
And I said, you have no idea what is ahead of you for the next 15 years, 10 years at least. And anyway, so yeah, I talked about some of the facilities that we've traveled to for baseball and how desperately we need this. Question though, you sent me 2 attachments, and Brad, the engineering guy, noticed that they're different.
yeah, they're slightly different. So there's some morphing going on between those two.
I asked about
Principally,
10s.
we were doing
I don't think
this
they
one.
have one.
Okay.
This was the early rendering. It was really to
His idea was, it was Frank's idea because
LB 39.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're closer to that one now.
Closer to this.
And we
then.
just
Okay.
continue to tweak as we iterate.
Okay.
But we're getting into the architectural planning now, so iterations are going to stop pretty soon.
Oh yeah. Pretty.
Brenton,
Our
can
our
you lower the microphone, the elbow of the microphone?
the better.
It was, I was in the trenches.
Our sons play baseball against each other.
Perfect, thank you.
Or at least they did last season.
yeah.
Millard West versus Elkhorn South. That was a chilly night.
It was a chilly night.
Yeah.
I think the Millard West boys had a good night too.
We did have a good night that night. And thank you, Raj. And I remember my wife's parents from Minnesota came down for that game. They had just moved back to Minnesota for the year from Arizona, and they're like, "Oh, we want to go back to Arizona."
Right, exactly.
Who won?
Millard West won that one.
That's pretty handily.
big.
Yeah, it was big. It was a terrible night.
In baseball, you have those nights where everything goes right or everything goes wrong.
I'm glad I'm separating you two.
Yeah. Oh, believe me,
Yeah.
they would get us plenty of other times. Yeah. But
What teams your son play for?
Elkhorn South. Yeah.
yeah. But you guys have a nice facility there. in
Yeah, it is a
Elkhorn
nice
South.
field. It is a nice field.
I really enjoyed it.
No joke about that.
And the seating, was really nice.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the pitch of the stands was good.
Yeah, it was, as we talked about, I coached a couple of those boys that are on that Millard West team.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I actually saw Troy Dietz this weekend, Charlie, at a camp. So, I think I told you I call him Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because he's on the front of our building. So.
He's probably going to hear this because Troy, I guess I don't know if he watches the tape.
Yeah.
I think Troy
Literally,
listens.
A picture
Oh,
of
here
him
we
that
are.
we put online.
And we're back on the air. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing. Brad Williams and Jorge Sotolongo are going to come back and join us in the second half. But right now we wanted to talk about An amazing youth sports facility that is under development on the west side. And we have with us Bruce O'Neill. Bruce is the executive director of the Elkhorn Athletic Association. Good morning, Bruce, and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Trent. Thanks for letting me be here. It was
Good.
an exciting morning.
Good to have you here. Hey, real fast, what exactly is Elkhorn Athletic Association?
So Elkhorn Athletic Association is a nonprofit 501c3 that serves about 6,000 athletes throughout western Douglas County, 8 sports, and primarily focused on outdoor sports, but we have some indoor with wrestling and basketball. But we're here to serve the community. The very nature of the word association means, a likeness of individuals coming together for a common purpose. So that's really kind of our goal. The roots of the organization really started 50 years ago. There's 5 decades worth of youth sports history, and it really came together through kind of a partnership with our co-founders, Eric Crouch and Jason McDonald with General Fire and Safety, who about in 2015 said, let's see if we can't pull some of these groups together and see if we can't work for a common purpose to provide places for kids to play and a mission for that. And when I first got here 3 years ago, it was about 1,600 kids. And now we've got roughly over 3,000 with a combination of what used to be Elkhorn Baseball and the Elkhorn Soccer Club. And it's been a pretty exciting journey the last 3 years. And one of the very first things they said to me is, boy, we need some more places to play.
So Elkhorn Athletic Association is independent of the school district.
It is independent, yeah, but we leverage and use the facilities tremendously, Trenton, because we are desperately reliant on our ability to have that partnership with the schools and use facilities. So we do a lot of capital improvements on the Elkhorn Public Schools and surrounding, and even Waterloo and Valley to that degree. Primarily more Waterloo, but it is independent of the school system. But we are definitely reliant on them from a partnership perspective. Okay.
Bruce, you mentioned we need more facilities, and I can tell you, I know that. You and I both have sons the same age that have played baseball since they were pretty much born. And so you and I know a lot about going to other cities and doing baseball tournaments and coming back home to Omaha wondering why we don't have some of the facilities that our kids have played at in other towns, which brings us to why we have you here today. Talk to us a little bit about what you have planned and what all that is going to look like.
Yeah, thank you. Again, this journey of this conversation about looking at what do we need in this community really is a lot of folks have looked at it, right? And we have not really had too many folks be very successful at trying to figure out this particular equation, but we've managed to get our hands on about 142 acres just outside of Valley, right off of 275. The location is absolutely spectacular from an ingress, egress, and traffic perspective. So it's 142 acres, looking to put on it 16 baseball, softball fields, varying sizes, 6 all kind of multi-turf, all play fields, which are soccer and football and lacrosse, and a barrier-free field for kids with disabilities. So we have a mission to be able to say we want to serve all athletes anywhere from kindergarten through high school, but we really focus on kindergarten through 8th grade. And in doing that, we want to be able to say we have a place for adaptive sports all the way through recreation, which is the vast majority of it, and then the select sports. So it's a fairly significant undertaking. I like to use the phrase a BHAG, right? It's a big, hairy, audacious goal. We'll use that one on radio.
Jim Collins.
Yeah. So for us, this is a BHAG, right? We are at the tip of the spear as a nonprofit, not doing this just for the Elkhorn Athletic Association. We are really, truly trying to do this for a community to leave a legacy for generations to come. And we want it to be a regional destination, right? How much money have Nebraskans spent, and particularly Western Nebraskans, or Eastern Nebraskans, traveling other places to play? I look at a place like Des Moines, who has 6 complexes similar to this, maybe not quite the scale.
That are smaller city.
And you guys just published the other day, and we're Omaha's number 13 on the places to live. And where's Des Moines in that? They're 93rd, right? And we have a dearth of places like this that we just don't have them. We need really competitive places to play and a regional destination because folks want to come to Omaha. And we just need something like this to be it'll be net new economic income because we don't have a draw like this today.
Will there be naming rights for this, or
Without question, I'm glad. Thank you, Trent. You walked me right into it. We actually have a naming rights partner. MD West One Orthopedic and Neurology is the naming rights partner for the complex. They've signed up to do that for the next 10 with an extension for 20 years. So we're fortunate to have that. And then, of course, we're going to rely on sponsorships for naming rights for fields and things like that. We've already got several partners who have signed up to be naming rights partners. I could rattle through that list for you, but MD West One jumped on early to be the naming rights partner for the complex because they've got locations in that area. And the thing that's really important to all of us is having community-minded and focused partners, right? We don't necessarily want to have Joe's Crab Shack propane and bail bonds as a sponsor.
yeah,
Not that we don't appreciate that.
there's not a synergy there.
Right. But what we're looking for is folks who have like-minded partnerships that are oriented the same way. And so folks like, MD West One, Pinnacle Bank, Core Bank, DJ's Dugouts, General Fire and Safety, folks that have a community-minded focus have been tremendous sponsors. Pepsi's one. We've got a couple of family foundations that have contributed to this project. And so it's a $50 million project over the course of the next 8 years, and we're building it in phases. And in doing that, we're going to be reliant on not only local contributions and efforts, sponsorships, but also some of the new tools that are out there legislatively at our disposal as well.
What's the website?
So you can get to the website at elkhornathletics.org and /MD West 1, or you can just go to the Elkhorn Athletic Association.org and find it.
And people can contribute. They can learn more about it.
Yes.
Are these fields synthetic turf, or are they grass, or both?
So the baseball fields will be all synthetic infields and grass outfields. So again, weather being what it is in Nebraska, we want to make sure that when people travel here, they have a place to play. And then the soccer/football fields will be a super pad. So it's going to be one big contiguous space that will have synthetic turf.
That is a nice amenity. Okay, so it's 142 acres, Highway 275, the exit where there's a Pilot Travel Center and a Dairy Queen. That's what a lot of people will probably identify it by. Timeline, Bruce, for these phases. When will the first pitch be thrown?
Well, our plan right now, if we can stay on track, is spring of 2023. We've got great partners with MCL, Lamprey Nearson, Morrissey Engineering, and Nemaha Construction out of Lincoln, who are actively putting all the details together. BCDM is doing the architectural renderings right now for the City of Valley, who's been a fantastic partner to us. And so our plan is to start moving some dirt here this winter and getting some excitement going. And as the two of you will know better than I do as a neophyte to this, moving dirt is expensive, and it's not as abundant as you would think.
Yeah, you would think. There's dirt everywhere. Not always the case.
So, and there's just so much construction and growth right now in Omaha, which is exciting, which is exactly why being in the vanguard of a community project like this is super important.
Well, we're really excited about it. I'm looking forward to watching games there someday. And Bruce, thanks to you and your colleagues and your members for everything you're doing to bring Omaha a bigger piece of that youth sports market economy, which is billions and billions of dollars.
$19 billion, Jeff.
That's impressive. Well, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate your time this morning. Thank you, gentlemen.
Bruce O'Neill, Executive Director of the Elkhorn Athletic Association. When we come back, Jorge and Brad are going to come join us again, and we're going to talk about some of the projects that went through Planning Board this week. All sorts of things that are going to be coming to Omaha. And we'll also have our commercial real estate development spotlight brought to you by Noddle Companies. Going to talk a little bit about a new restaurant at Exarban Village. Lot to do, so we're going to get to it. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
$19 billion for what?
The industry of sports tourism, of youth sports.
Youth sports is just that big of an industry.
Yeah. Nationally or
Nationally?
Wow.
It's just freaking incredible. I mean,
I'm a bit of a storyteller, guys. So thanks for giving me some of the punchline of those kinds of things.
that was really good. Well, and I think about, even though the kids are in high school now, we still traveled 4 times this year, 2 in the summer and 2 in fall ball. And all 4 of those trips were 2 hotel nights.
Yep.
And the dads, we go to the nice bars and drink the good beer and go to a lot of meals. I mean, we need more of that.
I probably should have got to the point where we were talking a little bit about, what does this draw look like? And I'll just plant these seeds with you guys. But, by the time this is over and fully built, you're talking about 800,000 visitors in any 1 year. And that's a conservative. That's with 83% occupancy. If you look at our pro forma model, so we didn't even build it. We were very conservative. Those are getting to nearly
800,000
800,000 visitors a year
for this facility.
For this facility over a 35-week period, and that's conservative.
Over 30 weeks.
Over a 35-week period. And the reason we say that is, and that's with 83% occupancy, because you never want to plan for 100%. You always want to have a little bit off. That's getting close and rivaling, Heavy Daily Zoo, which is what, $1.2 million?
$1.2 million, yeah.
And so, and this is the thing that I keep trying to talk to folks about, especially with the legislative bills that are ahead of us. That sales turnback tax for LB 39 and the shovel ready for LB 566. This is net new revenue to the industry, to the community. It's not like putting an additional arm on the Jocelyn where the same visitors are going to come back. Right now, these folks are all going somewhere else. Now you can get them to stay here and spend that money here. So it's net new, a lot of net new.
Yeah.
Which is we don't have today.
Now, the grading's already underway, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're going to scrape it here. We farmed it this last year. So bring a little income off of it.
Yeah.
When did you close on it?
Last, I don't know, it was earlier this year, April maybe.
What was the land buy?
How
much was the land buy?
You mean as far as cost per acre?
Yeah, or the whole thing.
Well, it was 1.8. Yeah, about 13,000 bucks an acre. All the ground around it's now going for 25 to 30.
Yeah.
So we got in early. We had a 2-year contract on it.
So the hotels you see going out there?
Yeah, we've already had MOUs signed with 2. They're doing exploratory stuff for 2 limited stay hotels.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, good.
So, I mean, again, I'm an HR guy who's worked all over this planet putting in offices. So this is a little different.
It's different stuff.
But it's fun.
But it is fun. But we need. I'm the first person. I'm the first person to tell you this is not my core dojo, right?
Yeah.
Forrest Gumping my way through this. I feel like it's 1 step forward, 2 step back. So, where we can get having experts in that cadre of like an MCL, a Nemaha, a LAMP, and try to find some developers and find some experts in that. That's super important to us because I'm focused on doing this for the kids and creating something for the kids in this community for a legacy. I need the experts around that to help fill in the pieces.
But do you have the land that'll go for the hotels and stuff like that?
Yeah,
too?
So you'll sell it to them?
So on this, we reserved what I called inventory space for those kinds of things. So if you look at this, so there's a 157,000 square foot building we've got earmarked here. That's not in the phases for the first phase. But literally, I mean, anywhere here, up here, or really here, is really where those opportunity spaces are. There's a bit of, this is Bruce Grucock's ground here to the east, and we've got an MOU for a right-of-way through here on this 20-acre piece, because this is all farm ground too. He farms it today. He or somebody else farms it, but
yeah.
So there's
Bruce isn't driving the tractor.
No.
Is this on the website?
That rendering is not on the website, but I'm happy to send you another version of it, because even we've tweaked it just a little bit more, but because I've just added, some a little bit more specificity on it with land. But there are
If you can
architects.
send it to us, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't realize how huge this is going to be for the community.
And the other thing I probably should have mentioned is we need multiples, right? So we're a fan of Tranquility. We're a fan of
we need more than just this.
We need a fan of what's going on downtown that they just announced.
Yeah.
The more, the better. Right? This is not a pride of ownership. It has to be exclusive. This is we still need more and more. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, anything you can do to kind of fill in some of the gaps that I might have had, that would be great.
And I'm gonna. It'll be. Do you ever? I don't know if you listen to KFB and the Good Morning Show every day in the morning drive, but at 7:54 I do a thing called the Girl Omaha Minute.
Yep.
It'll be a Girl Omaha Minute this week.
Perfect.
So
That'd be great.
Yeah, and that gets heavy listenership because that's right at peak morning listenership.
I know Trenton said that everybody says this, but I literally do listen to the show every morning. So
Thank you.
usually, I leave here now, and I'll go to our opening of our futsal indoor soccer. I'll go to the elementary schools where rec kids are playing, and I listen to the show between.
That's awesome.
Places. And
We
then
love it.
And I can't wait for Murtaugh to get on and listen to that too.
Although he's on an enemy station, so we don't talk.
Yeah,
So.
all
right.
That's all right.
So,
But he does have a good show.
But I do appreciate that
Thanks.
you
Good
guys
job.
giving me a little bit of opportunity, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to fill in any gaps where you can, because like
Okay.
I said, I couldn't cover everything.
You're gonna see the fundraising dollars just jack up this afternoon.
That's what I'm looking for.
He promises.
Yeah, thank you. All right, keep pushing,
All right.
guys. I appreciate anything I can do for you. Just let me know.
It's good to meet you in person.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
It's a impressive project.
Nice conversation on the
Thank
phone
you.
a while back. See you, Bruce. He's also really close with Melissa. That's
Yeah.
how we're hooked up. Yeah.
She's a coach.
Yeah, she coaches in the association, and then I think they coach together at one point. Some team, I can't remember.
Yeah, I can see it.
All the details. Uno minuto.
I heard some kind of confidential information that Nautil's building a residential project at 54th and Leavenworth.
Oh, really? I'll have to ask him about it.
54th and Leavenworth?
Yeah, mute that out.
What's there?
Confidential.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't say who told me. It's just it's a room.
It's just a rumor at this point.
Houses and slightly
They didn't tell
burned
me,
tasty
so.
pizza.
Oh, so it'd be there, huh? Okay.
I live at 52nd.
54th might not be accurate, but it's like something like
52nd Poplar? We lived on 52nd Pine, right by the speed bump.
Just down, yeah.
Yeah.
They were the,
I know the speed
they
bump.
were the people that when they left, the neighborhood got a lot quieter.
No.
27 and a half years I've lived there.
Yeah. You know,
That's a
right
nice
by Pine,
How
there's
long?
the
Get it
alley.
figured out.
27 and a half.
What's that, Brad?
On Pine Street, right by Pine, there's the alley that on the west side of the road.
Yeah.
There's a yellow house on one side and a brick house on the other. We were the brick house.
Oh,
With the
okay.
green porch.
So Brad and I were talking. Does anybody know where Jay Coco is going to go?
No.
We've talked
I would
about.
love to go. Oh, we're back. The music. Got to work.
Was it Blackstone they talked about?
That's what I heard.
That's what I wondered. That makes sense.
Hear my conversation with Michael Sobolik on the Ian Swanson podcast page at KFME.com.
And welcome back to Grow Omaha. This is the show that talks about the growth and development of your favorite city. Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot from NAI NP Dodge. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing, commercial and residential roofing contractor. Hey, we have with us Brad Williams from E&A Consulting and Brad Williams Photography, and also Jorge Soto Longo from NAI NP Dodge. And this is our commercial real estate development spotlight brought to you by Nautil Companies. And guys, Nautil Companies is, among many, many, many projects, the developer behind Exarban Village. Saffron Urban Kitchen. We've talked about it before. It's the new upscale Indian restaurant that is coming to Exarban, really close to Herbsant. Took a look inside the space a couple days ago. Wow. Build out is underway. It's beautiful.
Yum.
The polished wood in there. The bar is beautiful. The way they have it set up where you go into the vestibule and then the check-in counter is off to the side. You guys, this is going to be a special place.
They talk about when it's going to open?
And it's very, very close. In fact, there was a liquor license sign in the window, which is always a good sign. And I mean, it's looking to me, based on where they are in build out, I would say early next year.
And Exarban Village, it's just the season?
'Tis the season. I tell you, it's so decorated so nicely and everything else. So very good stuff. That is your commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, brought to you by Nautil Companies. Nautil Companies based here in Omaha, doing business all over the country, big development projects, and you can find them online at nautilcompanies.com. Well, Jorge is a member of the Omaha Planning Board. They meet once a month. Wednesday of this week was the week. Jorge, what we thought we could do for the rest of the show is maybe you could kind of toss out a couple things that were on the docket and we could talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. One of them that we haven't talked about on the show for a little bit is Maverick Landing, and that was on the agenda this week. It's looking like it's coming along pretty nicely with some restaurant
72nd
retail.
and Grover.
72nd and Grover.
Big site. And it was Holiday Inn Convention Center forever, and then it was Ramada Inn.
Yep.
And
the Cocoa Keys is coming
So
down.
a local developer is redeveloping everything except that dentist office on the corner, right?
Exactly. So there's going to be, I'm seeing right now about 5 buildings on here, including the Fairfield Inn Hotel that's going to go, which is a pretty nice hotel. So I think it's going to be a nice addition, nice little revitalization there. And then to the east, we're hearing big multifamily projects. So I think we have a good idea of who the developer is, but I don't think we're allowed to say it yet. But there's going to be a good amount of
10 acres.
9.5, 10 acres, yeah. So it's going to be a good amount of really close retail and residential. They're also going to connect 70th Street on the north and south side. So going north and south on the development, they're going to actually add a city street So 70th Street will then continue throughout.
And I know
to
they're
help
actively
traffic.
looking for restaurants and commercial,
Mm-hmm.
in addition to the apartments and the hotels that are going there. There's already a couple limited service hotels that have gone up.
Yeah, and I'm seeing the renderings of the Fairfield. It looks really nice, and I'm excited for that project. Just thought I'd kind of update you guys on that one.
Yeah, Brad, speaking of Maverick Landing, they had to tear down that massive hotel there, which is in progress. A few weeks ago, you posted some very cool aerial photographs of that demolition taking place.
Yeah, I didn't know demolition had started, and I was actually photographing the brand new dual brand hotel just to the north of the property. And when we got over it in the helicopter, I looked down and saw all kinds of rubble and machinery tearing down the existing hotel. So,
progress.
Yeah, got quite a bit of it down already.
And this is the type of density that we like to see, right? You take a hotel that had been
low rise at best,
and really past its prime, so to speak, and you take that, and now you throw a lot of people, 24-hour population with apartments, commercial uses, and all that, and you're doing it inside the city where the infrastructure
a major corridor
exists.
near the interstate.
Absolutely.
72nd Street can get busy.
It can, and there were some concerns that were brought up about traffic. That I think that 70th Street addition will alleviate some of that. So this was a $2 million TIF request that we approved, and then. Yeah, so I think it's a great project.
It was like Christmas at the planning board this week.
It was. We were just handing out TIF dollars, left and right.
You get a TIF. All right, what's another project that was on the docket this week, Jorge Sotolongo?
Absolutely. So this one is kind of interesting. Switching back to the industrial topic, we've got 150,000 square feet of warehouse coming right by the airport. I think
Century Development.
Century Development. It is. I think it's Century. Well, it's managed by Frank Krejci, so it's
Century.
a project exactly. It's 150,000 square feet of industrial, and what
Abbott Drive
on Abbott Drive, so front's Abbott Drive, and it's going to look nice, but it's going to be accommodating of really high end industrial tenants
So just
near
north
the
of the
airport.
airport, basically?
Just north of the airport as you drive north on Abbott. I guess it came from the idea that Frank has of course traveled to other cities, and when you fly into places, he's seen a lot of high quality industrial developments around airports, and that we didn't really have that. So. It's, I think, a welcome addition. This ground has been vacant for a long time. The ground and the soil is tricky down there, apparently, to work with. So they needed TIF to do this project, and we approved it.
I suppose it's so close to the river, Brad, from an engineering perspective, that is a very different part of the metro area compared to the rest of it.
Yeah, and not familiar with this exact project, but you always have to, when you're that close to a big body of water, be careful of the floodplain and make sure you're above the floodplain.
Yeah, you got unique soils down there.
That's what it is. It's a soil. It's the kind of sand that they have underneath that is, you put a heavy piece of equipment on there and it buries itself. So it takes a sort of remediation and things. We're really kind of getting into the nitty gritty, but it's interesting.
And things like that. But you're probably talking about 25,000 square foot bays.
Exactly. So, the idea is I think we're going to get some really high-end tenants there, which is great.
Awesome. All right, we're going to take our final break of the hour. When we come back, we're going to have the lightning round brought to you by Turner Construction, and then I bet we could get another project or two out of you, Jorge, couldn't we?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Okay. So you're listening to Jeff Beals, Trenton Magid, Brad Williams, and Jorge Sotolongo on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Back to the fairway real quick.
So maybe I'll go through the things on the lightning round, and then we'll maybe do two projects.
There's that fairway I was telling you about, Jeff, on 168th and Ida. That's the fairway.
Okay.
It says retail.
So that was on the agenda too.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't think they ever mentioned what grocery store it was.
No, they didn't. If we can mention it, maybe we can. Maybe we can break the
Ida.
news.
Well, let's do it because Brad just said basically that's the outline of a fairway. So
Exactly.
That's a fairway.
Exactly. Yeah, the same
size,
square footage, and
yeah, I don't know.
What is the square foot? Is it 23K?
Yeah. 23,000.
That's that. Remember the question we had? Who were we talking about? We were like, how big's a fairway?
Yeah.
And we were thinking it was either 20 or 30.
What's an Aldi?
30.
Isn't that big? Is Aldi bigger than fairway?
They were looking at 30 on 144th and Center with that project that
Oh, you're right,
Seaport
exactly
and John
right.
London Works.
Well, they just took that and they
And
just
then they took the
132nd. Yeah.
So now it's 30.
Well, we
they
could
have
say
90
that.
They're
total.
looking at 144.
It's
They
about
looked at
we'd say it's about the size of a fairway or an LD.
Yeah,
LD.
but suspiciously similar in floor plan to a fairway.
Like I literally.
That's kind of funny that we can tell that
Or
from here.
bubble.
I think that's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, that's how you know. That's how you know you've been a nerd in this industry for long enough. You're like,
Well,
that's a
it's-
fairway.
It's just parcel out of that whole anchor point they did. You know how I know it's exactly the same as a fairway? Because I traced the one on 132nd forward.
I mean, it's like a pretty, like, it's like.
30.
I'll
That's
probably
the
mention.
dock
I'll
and-
probably shout out Avenue 1 too, real quick.
Okay.
They had a couple things, and then
Oh, that
it's been
church?
some good activity.
Greek church?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not the Greek church. It's the Grace Hill. It's a
Oh,
different
yeah,
church
that's-
project, actually.
That Timberline or Timberland or
And that one's already done, moving.
That
They've got some.
that church you showed me the rendering of was Grace Hills.
No. That was the Greek
about
Orthodox.
6
Oh,
minutes.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, we'll have 6 minutes. Let's do a lot of,
Yeah.
get a lot in and talk a lot. And
They've done this a couple.
I'll
times.
fly
Those
through
church-
the-
that Greek church people.
All right, here we go.
Gotten it a lot, and then they've never done it. And then they've had to sell. They've done it 3 times. So we'll see.
That's 2:35 Monday on News Radio 1110.
And Grow Omaha is back. Jeff Beals, Trenton Magid, Brad Williams, Jorge Sotolongo here. This is the lightning round. Brought to you by Turner Construction. Turner Construction, always in the running for one of the biggest construction firms in the world, but they work here in Omaha like a small town construction firm in that they're very customer service oriented. They care deeply about their workforce, and Turner always sees themselves as having an obligation to developing the local construction workforce. We need more tradespeople. We need more carpenters. We need more masons and all the things that people do that make buildings happen. And Turner Construction is really working hard to make sure people get into the trades, and they realize that you would have a hard time finding a better career than one in construction. So we thank Turner Construction for being our lightning round sponsor. Hey, a few things we want to fly through here real fast before we get into some of the other things that are on the planning board docket this week. Casanova's Butchery is an interesting sounding business coming to Rockbrook Village. I think it's pretty high end. They're going to have a liquor license and all that sort of thing. Rebel Monkey Pizza is open at
Pudgy's?
In the old Pudgy space near 168th and Harrison. I tried it this week. Good product. Arby's has opened at 184th and Center, replacing one about a mile or so to the east.
Big demand for that one.
Crisp and Green is going to be opening December 11th instead of this weekend like we originally thought.
I found him that location. I'm excited for that.
80th and Dodge. Let's go there for lunch after it opens here in a
Absolutely.
couple weeks, Trenton. And then some bad news. Closings. Pottery Barn Kids is closing at Regency Court, and Lead Belly, a restaurant in Midtown Crossing, closing at the end of the year. Starbucks now open at 90th and Fort Street. So Jorge Sotolongo on the planning board. What's another project this month?
Another Starbucks, 90th and Maple. I saw Chip James is they put in for a parking waiver of some sort just to accommodate a Starbucks there. That's one. And then we were going to talk quickly about Anchor Point. This is, I believe, at 168th and Ida. I don't know, Brad, if you want to chime in on that one.
Yeah, it's the empty piece just to the south of the school that's right there on the corner, and it's a mixed-use development. It'll have residential, retail, and an office component.
There seems to be a 23,000 square foot building on this site plan that has an interesting shape to it that we were kind of joking
We think
about.
it could be
off
one
air.
of two.
One of two anchors, one of two grocery anchors. We've done this so many times that we can just tell by a site plan who it's going to be by the shape of the building. So we're going to see who it is. Who do you guys think it is?
You're guessing Fairway?
Fairway.
We're guessing Fairway, I think.
Well, yeah, we all looked at it, and you know, Brad knows site plans pretty well. He's like, that looks like a fairway.
Yeah, it sure does.
So it's probably going to be a fairway. But there'll be a lot of other retail there too. Though.
Exactly. So it seems like they'll be the anchor. There's a lot of great services and mixed use things around that.
Okay. And say where that is again?
168th and Ida.
168th and Ida.
Which corner, Brad?
Northwest.
That is out there. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Jorge. What next?
There was a agenda item about Heartwood Preserve. There's just one lot there that is going to be split up into, I think, 4 different lots for commercial. It's kind of just some progress going on Heartwood Preserve. Avenue 1, again, had there's progress going on over there, 192nd and Dodge.
So what type of stuff are we talking about at Avenue 1 right now?
A big apartment project.
Avenue 1, they've got some apartments coming. They've got Grace Hill Church, I believe that's the name. Good project. Looks like a great church structure that they're building, and then there's even an extra portion of that lot that I think is going to even be home to some residential too. Maybe some townhomes or row house type style. A nice addition to what is kind of essentially adjacent to that church. And so we're hearing some really good activity on Avenue 1. I commend the team out there. They're really, really finding some great activity.
Boy, the amount of construction in this town is just going crazy.
That absolutely. I've heard good things from R&R too. That leasing is going well up at the office on 192nd and Dodge.
Oh,
as well.
is it? Oh, good.
So I think we're going to see some really great things over there.
All right. Can we squeeze in one more project?
Well, we've got one item, kind of a small change to it was like a special use permit or something for the data center that is coming to Rainwood and State, right?
We're guessing it's Google. They haven't announced it, but
that's our best guess.
Our guess would be Google.
Our best guess is to Google it.
Good. Okay, let's talk about that data center a little bit. So that's still going through the approval process because after you guys on the planning board, it's still got to go to the city council, right?
Exactly. But I mean, this thing has gone lightning fast. I mean, this is like a lesson in how fast you can actually get something done.
You go up there and they're taking down a hill.
They're scraping the hell out of the place right now.
I mean, it's so, physically they're moving quickly, but then through the process of planning and planning board and city council, I mean, they've done it as quickly as you possibly can. And of course, it's to keep things quiet and discreet as possible. We don't know. Everyone's been very tight-lipped, I have to say. No one's said who it is, but that's our best.
Well, shout out to the planning board, the city council, the mayor's office,
the chamber as well as a part of this deal.
How everybody's working so well together, and we get things moving in this city.
There's a lot of collaboration, and it takes a lot of collaboration to get these guys to come to Omaha. So.
But I am a little bit curious, and I don't know, Jorge or Brad, maybe you guys might have thought on this, but okay, so that project that may or may not be Google, we know it's a massive data center campus, hasn't been formally approved. How are they able to start grading on it already?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't been out there, so if they've started grading that's my...
They are.
They are with a vengeance.
But they've had several approvals already. So, I mean, I think this was just some tiny, I guess, modification. But, I mean, it seems like they've had some approvals. I'm not sure how that works, though.
Well, and that's the way these big companies work. And I suppose if in the highly, highly, highly unlikely circumstance that it wasn't approved, if they walked away from a couple $1 million worth of grading costs, to be like, oh, well.
It's a great site.
You notice how I don't want to be the person on air to say that Google's doing something illegal.
And with that, perfect segue into the music, which means that we're out of here. Well timed, Jorge. All right, Jorge Sotolongo, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Brad Williams, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggin.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing, NAINP Dodge, and Turner Construction. We look forward to chatting with you again next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Yeah, the thing with the Google
doesn't get much more action-packed than that.
Yeah, we're all going to get cease and desist as they come tomorrow.
That was a lot of information.
That was a good show, guys.
Whoa.
That was a really good show.
Very good.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.